All right, guys, what is going on? This is the Club of the Man 1993 coming at you once again for another live review. This is my live review of NXT from the August 29th, 2018 edition of NXT. It's been 2 weeks we've done a review of NXT. Again, last week I didn't do it because most of the time the NXT following, the fallout show of NXT is basically just, just shows the dark matches, and it's just a recap show for the most part of TakeOver. From the takeover, so it's not really new to talk about because it's just a repeat of my takeover review. So that's why I didn't do last week, unless something like worthwhile happens. It's like outstanding. But so of course we're back reviewing the NXT. We're now on the road now to NXT Takeover War Games 2, which is going to be on Saturday, November 18th, 2018, in Los Angeles, California. Unfortunately, same situation is going to be for that. I will not be able to watch that takeover live like I was from this past takeover. So, sucks, but I'll still be able to watch it. It probably won't be as hectic of a weekend as it was this past takeover. Anyways, we get into this show. Overall, wasn't a bad show. Wasn't the strongest edition of NXT we've seen in a while, but we are starting to see some seeds playing for what to look forward to down the line. We're still wondering what's going on with the Aleister Black situation. We got Keith Lee in the ring tonight as well. We got a great main event as well. With the tag team match, it's probably setting up a match further down the line, probably either on NXT or even TakeOver. We'll see when they do it, but it's going to be a possible classic, I'd say. I'll talk about it at the end. So let's get right rolling into this review and talk about this show as always. So we start off with, of course, Kathy Kelly is interviewing William Regal about why his office looks so busy. It includes the NXT's legal team, and he tells her that it is they're going to be investigating the Aleister Black situation, and he wants the NXT Universe to know this investigation is going to start tonight. We have Johnny Gargano making his way out, but his music doesn't hit. He kind of just walks out with his crutch, and he gets a pop, unlike Tommaso Ciampa, since he has no music. When he comes out, he gets booed. So this is kind of Johnny Gargano coming out like the Tommaso Ciampa way, pretty much. It kind of makes sense with what he talks about in his promo. Everybody's cheering for him. The reaction is kind of split, though. Some people are cheering for Ciampa, some people are cheering for Johnny. Johnny says the fans have always had his back, but he doesn't deserve that right now. He told us he'd screw up and would win the NXT title in Brooklyn and start fixing things, but he didn't. He doesn't know where he goes from here. He lost more in the match in Brooklyn. He lost himself. He doesn't know how to fix things. He became something he's not proud of at TakeOver Brooklyn, which he became Tommaso Ciampa. He admits that Ciampa is in his head and he can't control it. He doesn't know what we want anymore, and he wants Ciampa out, though. He has to be better for us, for Candice, but again, he doesn't know how. Out came Regal. He gets in the ring and he asks Johnny, before Aleister Black returns and burns the whole place down, was he the one who attacked Aleister Black? Now, you think, Johnny, didn't attack him, he would for sure just right away say, are you kidding me? Are you really? But Johnny hesitates for a second, and he looks up and he says, you know me, look into my eyes, you'll know my answer. Of course, Regal wasn't buying it, saying that, the personal feelings aside, he said, I just need to hear it from you. But out came the Velveteen Dream. He's not in the mood. He's sick of sitting in the back and listening to the same old poor Johnny sob story. Tonight shouldn't be about Gargano. It certainly shouldn't be about a man who's not even in the building in front of Aleister Black. It should be about the man who took over Brooklyn and the trending topic, the Velveteen Dream. It definitely shouldn't be about Johnny failure. Johnny takes that in and he says, the doctor only gave me this crutch just in case, but I'm actually ready. I can wrestle tonight. And he just throws the crutch at Velveteen Dream before they can start going to each other. Regal steps in, sends Johnny to the back and Dream to his office, and he says if they want to fight, they will have a match next week. So we're seeing the second match between Johnny Gargano and Velveteen Dream. We saw one, if you guys remember, from the Go Home show, TakeOver Philadelphia. Johnny Gargano, put his #1 contendership for the NXT Championship on the line before Takeover Philadelphia. So they had a pretty good match then. Look forward to see what they can do for this match on next week as well. So that is straight there. They run down the matches set for tonight, which we've seen Keith Lee in action. We actually think we also with this announced we'll be seeing Raul Mendoza take on EC3, and then we were also going next. We're going to be a women's division match, which would be Dakota Kai and Aaliyah. We see the Undisputed Era getting ready backstage for their main event match later on tonight. Cole paces while Strong and Fish strategize to joke around, and Kyle O'Reilly tunes his belt. And then we had the next women's match, which is Dakota Kai versus Aaliyah, which I mentioned a couple weeks ago, and this is why you see my stand set back there. I'm going to be doing the turn alert. It does seem like that Aaliyah now has transitioned into a heel role. So I don't know if this means that they're going to start taking Aaliyah more seriously and not just having her be just someone to like properly feed pins to people. So I hopefully, she lost this match. It wasn't bad between Dakota Kai and Aaliyah, but it does seem like, they're going a different direction with her here, which, I'm cool with it, but I'll of course talk about more in the turn alert video. But Dakota Kai defeats Aaliyah, and not a bad women's match we got. Then we get Regal and his lawyer interviewing Velveteen Dream, who ironically thanks them for not wasting his time. Then we see Wesley Blake and Steve Cutler and the wrestler formerly known as Gunner. They're being called the Forgotten Sons, apparently. I've heard about them here and there, but they have not debuted on NXT TV yet. They come in, and they're glad he got a chance to finally talk to Regal because they want an opportunity, but of course they got his attention for the wrong reason. Blake explains why they couldn't have attacked Black, and Regal tells them they'll get their chance to impress him in a tag match next week. I don't know who it's against, so the Forgotten Sons are going to be finally making their NXT TV debut. And the first time in a while, we've seen Wesley Blake. Don't know if he's going to impress me like how Buddy Murphy is, but we'll see. We got Mauro Ranallo talking about something else, but then quickly throws it backstage because officials are running the EC3 as Lars Sullivan is walking away down the hallway. And it seems that Lars Sullivan had laid out EC3 for recent comments that EC3 made that Lars Sullivan, he feels, is the one who attacked Aleister Black. Then we have Nikki Cross being interviewed in the office, but she keeps spinning around her chair, laughing, not taking anything seriously. It was quite entertaining. But Regal's trying to get her to tell him what she saw the night Aleister Black was attacked. She says she saw who did it, and asks if they hear the phone ringing, and which it was not. She picks it up and says she knows a secret. And then Bianca Belair comes in and says she's tired of waiting. She's proved she's not injured. She deserves a title shot. Cross is impressed by Bianca's shiny outfit, tries to play with her, but Belair slaps her hand away. Nikki wants to play and wants Mr. Regal to let them, but then Bianca storms off saying to come find her when he's done playing with his little pet, and she leaves. Nikki asks the GM if they're done, and Regal says he still has a lot of questions to ask her. So teasing him that, Nikki Cross, who they showed last week, I think it was last week, they showed footage showing that Nikki Cross was, in fact, on top of the building outside, probably got a good view of who attacked Aleister Black. So Nikki Cross could be the one to help reveal our culprit. I still have no idea who it is. A lot of people are saying it could have been Gargano. I'm not going to rule it out, but honestly, I'm not sure. Who do you know? Who do you know say it was? But we'll see down the line who it is. We have Raul Mendoza out for the match against EC3, but EC3 wasn't able to make it out there. So Sullivan comes out instead and says that unlike the situation with Aleister, there's no mystery about who took out EC3. It was him. And Mendoza is in his territory. It wasn't really a match at all, as Mendoza tries to evade for a second, but gets headbutt out of the air. And it just ends with Sullivan just beating down on Mendoza. And it's the first time we've actually seen Lars Sullivan since his match with Aleister Black at TakeOver Chicago 2. So just sending him back and beating down on Raul Mendoza. We have Tommaso Ciampa setting up a camera in like a dark room and sits with his belt, saying that when he was injured a year ago, he made a promise that when he came back, he'd be the most dangerous SOB in all of NXT. And he fulfilled when he came back, and now he holds the biggest prize in sports entertainment. It takes a certain kind of man to climb to the mountaintop, takes another kind of man altogether to build a nest there and call it home, which is now NXT, and no one will survive what he claims comes next. So I don't know what's next for Tommaso Ciampa. Who's he going to be going after next? We'll have to wait and see. So good promo there. We then have Keith Lee taking on Luke Menzies. Not a bad match at all. Just Keith Lee getting some offense in for a bigger guy. Still pretty agile. I'm sure he has more to show to come, but not a bad match again to put over Keith Lee, who seems to be facing a lot of like British wrestlers, it seems, as of for his debut. So we got that. We have Dunn and Ricochet walking down the hall backstage. The Bruiserweight is really eyeing up the North American Championship. The King just smiles it off, but eyes the UK title a bit himself. And they kind of tease some, I think it was last week, saying, Pete Dunne claims that Ricochet has something that he wants, which is the North American Championship. So I'm starting to say, and what happened in the main event, we'll talk about in a second, could we set up for a title match down the line, maybe either on NXT or at TakeOver War Games 2? Maybe, I don't know, because I do see both of these guys in some ways being a part of War Games, possibly. Wait, too, though. Then we get a hype video for the return of Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, who they haven't been seen since they wrestled at TakeOver Chicago 2, I believe. Was that the rest of them they wrestled? Yeah, TakeOver Chicago 2. They wrestled the Undisputed Era in a great match. They'll be back in 2 weeks. They also said that next week we're going to see Kairi Sane live next week. And then we also got to advertise our main event for next week, which is going to be Gargano versus Dream. We got our main event. It was supposed to be Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong, the Undisputed Era, against Ricochet and Pete Dunne, but then when it came out, Adam Cole says, I want a piece of him, pointing at Ricochet. So he tells Kyle, you can sit out this one. So he does, and then, the match happens. Great back and forth action. I mean, this was very well told since, there's history between Dunne and Strong and Ricochet and Cole as well. Of course, Strong was in there. Cole was waiting for the right opportunity on his own time to come in and start, doing the bidding against Ricochet. Again, the match went good, but of course it did tease, that even though Dunne and Ricochet were working together, they wanted what each other had pretty much. And of course that came into play towards the end of the match when Ricochet does do a dive onto the Undisputed Era outside the ring, but then they pulled in Pete Dunne and he got hit with them and with the dive instead. They throw Dunne in. Cole hits the last shot. And that's how the Undisputed Era win the match. And afterwards, they start to beat down them both and take them out. But then War Raiders music hits, and they come out. And the Undisputed Era just flees saying, you're not going to get a little sneak attack on us tonight. So again, it's obvious that the War Raiders are at least going after the NXT tag titles next. Again, I don't know if I should consider them face or not yet, because it feels like the same situation was last year with Undisputed Era, Sanity, and AOP. It's obvious they're probably going to be the next tag team champions. And again, in some ways, they're going to be involved in inside the War Games match to take over War Games 2. But that is how we went off the air for a pretty good episode of NXT. Again, not as good as previous ones, but it's still a strong episode, I thought, for the most part. So that's why I gave this episode of NXT a B+. B+ episode of NXT. Weird thoughts on NXT? Your thoughts down in the comment section below. And always sure to click by like, get to start more content on this channel. Follow me on Twitter at TheManAirBronny3. And I'm going to record the turn alert for Aaliyah. And I'm going to try to do another level or two of Shabs 3000 tonight. So just stay tuned for more content to come on the channel, of course. And also tomorrow will be a special live stream top 10 of the week. Not sure what the topic is, but I'll decide by tomorrow night. So guys, until then, guys, I'm going to check out. I'll see you guys in my video for Aaliyah and then for my Shabs 3000 videos I do record tonight. So until then, guys, have a great rest of your night and peace out, everybody.